January has brought colder weather to our part of the world. I've woken most mornings to a frost-misted landscape, which always draws me out of slumber and out for a walk. No snow yet, but I still hold out hope for a Dickensian snowy scene when I wake up. Sunrises are extra golden at this time of year, and a contrast to the skeletal landscape. Trees stand on the horizon, creating silhouettes against amber backdrops. Birds have been gorging on winter berries. The sorbus tree, thick with its soft pink berries, have had at least 3 blackbirds feasting on them at all times, and a raucous group of pigeons grow fat on the jet black ivy berries at the end of the garden. It is such a joy to see the birds relish in nature's offerings. There is a single white rose which is flowering outside of my window, rebelling against this winter weather. It has a certain resilience to still be performing in the depths of January. It paves the way for all of our spring flowering bulbs, nestled into the soil sleepily, soon to jolt into life. We are soon to put the herbaceous borders to bed, with a duvet of heavy organic mulch. This will protect the soil structure from relentless winter weather, but also provide nutrients and weather protection for the plants. We will add extra manure to any trees, shrubs and roses. By making this extra effort, plants will retain moisture throughout the blistering summer months, and weeds will struggle to grow under the suppression of the mulch. This can be done right up until April, so if the thought of shoveling mulch is far too much for you right now, you can stay inside and hibernate for slightly longer with contentment. Hellebores are also coming into flower. I shrieked when I saw them punctuating the paths last week. Known as the Christmas rose, they are the first flower of the year, along with flowering shrubs such as daphne and sarcococca, which fill woodlands and gardens with their perfumed scent. There is nothing like it. All make for good cut flowers. Mice love to gnaw on hellebores' flowering buds. What do mice not eat, I hear you ask? You should cut leaves right back to the ground. Not only does this put energy into the flowers, it removes the cover mice rely on to eat the buds. I don't believe in mouse traps, maybe too much Beatrix Potter as a child, so this is the next best thing. Doing this will also ensure that leaves grow back and look luscious at the same time as the flowers, rather than having lovely flowers and tatty leaves. You may, however, want to think about your Dahlia tubers if you haven't already. With snow forecast, dahlias can rot away when exposed to cold and damp. I have had friends asking me whether to dig them up, to be put away in potting sheds, or to leave them where they are, what is right and what is wrong. I have over the years painstakingly removed them, sometimes cutting them in half with my spade clumsily, having to find space for them to sit and only to rot away, only to be eaten by mice or just shrivel up. So much so that they never recover. If they survive that stage, then you must try potting them all up again, keeping them under cover before replanting after the last frost. It is a great effort, and actually one that I find least rewarding or even necessary. One garden I used to manage had the most beautiful show of dahlias every year. They grew 6 foot tall and were without fail smothered in flowers. The garden sat on the edge of a very cold, exposed hill which I could guarantee would always have snow, despite the rest of the county being 5 or so degrees warmer. She told me one day when sat with a cup of tea hiding from the rain in her greenhouse that she leaves them be, covers them in heavy mulch, and they're always the better for it. As soon as I realised that I could do this, in not only my garden but others that I work in, dahlias would be the best they have ever been. So, simply cut your dahlias back after the first frost of autumn and winter. I leave some stems showing so that I know that dahlias are growing there. Cover 2/3 up these stems with heaps of heavy mulch or well-rotted manure or compost. Wait until you see their green growth in spring and you have succeeded. I used strulch last year, a mulch made from straw, which was particularly effective. Not only did it prevent frost damage and rot to the tubers, but also acted as a deterrent to slugs, as they don't like moving over straw. It gave nutrients to the dahlias themselves, prevented rot and slug damage. Note to self, slugs love feasting on fresh dahlia shoots and leaves. So there you have my answer. Other jobs for this month, rose pruning. Perhaps my favourite job of the season. Roses to me are like puzzles to unravel and then put back together again. Most satisfying. Don't hold back. Be brave. Remove any stems thinner than a pencil. Take off at least 1/3 of the rose's growth. Cut right to the ground anything damaged, dead, diseased or crossing. Cut to an outward facing bud. For shrub roses, aim for a goblet shape, a nice airy open centre. Someone once told me, treat roses like your worst enemy. So make of that what you will, but be assured that they can certainly take a heavy prune. A good podcast, handsaw, razor sharp, clean secateurs and a pair of warm gloves is essential. The rest is up to you. I wonder how everyone else is feeling. Melancholy has been the theme of my week. I feel very uncertain in these troubling times. Friends and family are struggling to cope, and I wonder when this will all end. Ben and I are already wondering if our postponed wedding will even go ahead, and days are long and dark. I find it soothing to think of the near future rather than planning for months down the line. Relishing in pleasures very small. I start by looking at my doorstep container garden, daily searching for the heads of narcissi and tulips breaking through frozen soil. I have spotted the white and purple tips of crocus appearing. The forced paper whites inside on my windowsills are flowering, papery, highly scented little stars when they want to. But perhaps best of all is the amaryllis I have been growing inside since November. It has finally opened its trumpet-like flowers, greeting me every morning and through the window every evening, snow-white petals brushed with sparkling strokes of scarlet stripes. As I sit here, I can smell the bright and the sweet smell of sticky amber marmalade cooking in the kitchen. Ben has a loaf of sourdough waiting to be slathered in the golden stuff. I hope you have enjoyed listening to my first ever monthly musings. Be kind to yourselves and take some time in nature. I never regret taking myself out on a walk. No matter how much beforehand I feel my bed is a better place for me, nature always beckons when I need her. Jess.